Somebody asked me to make a video about how to improve comprehension skills, especially reading skills for tests. And now I'm standing outside of a secondary school. So if you want to look at how a secondary school looks like from outside in Hong Kong, it's a very simple multi-store building. Okay. So I will use 3 time frames for this one. One is that what to do during the exam. The next time frame is what to do in the previous 48 hours to prepare, and the long-term preparation for months and years. So what to do when you are already at the exams. And we focus on, let's say that you have to read something, a long paragraph, maybe you read 1 page, and then there are some questions, and the comprehension skills, whether you can answer the questions correctly. But the main point is whether you understand the article or not. And I actually can relate to this when I practice for my GMAT. And when I practice, we had 3 articles in a certain period of time, and I realized that I can finish only 1, and even if my answers were not very good, and then I started to really prepare, and when I had the GMAT test, I already could finish 2, so I doubled my effectiveness. So this comprehension actually is not just reading, it can be listening, and for everybody. So when your boss is talking to you and you don't understand what he's talking about, then you have a problem. So back to the test. So you are in the exam and you start to read and answer. So the only thing you can do is keep your focus. So don't try to daydream, don't beat up yourself. Focus, read, keep your memory. So memory is energy, putting mental energy into what you are doing, which is focus. Keep the focus, don't let it daydream, and memorize that you read it. And at the same time, you have to look at the structure. What is this about? Now this will be about the preparation earlier. But when you are there, you also have to manage your emotions. So when it seems very difficult, don't panic, don't give up, just do your best. So it's about emotion and mental energy control. Now, the preparation before the exam, let's say the last 48 hours, is to prepare yourself to get into that mental, physical, emotional state where you can perform the best. For example, sleeping. You have to be able to sleep. So don't get tired when you go to the test. Second, the eating. Don't be full, don't be hungry. Don't eat refined carbohydrates, because that will make your blood sugar will go up and you will be very sleepy. So eat healthy food, not refined carbohydrates, no junk food, no chocolate, these kind of things. Because yes, if you eat chocolate, maybe your energy level goes up suddenly, but it will go down suddenly also. So it's not good. So sleep, eating, the drinking, also emotionally prepared yourself that it's exciting, and now you can show to the world, the teacher, that you are very good at comprehension. So emotionally pump up yourself, be excited, curious, okay? Give up all the negative things that, oh, I'm stupid, I cannot remember anything. Now, and the longer time frame for the real preparation for improving the skills of comprehension is for months and years, and actually it's whole life. So you will always have to improve these skills. Now, there can be, let's say, 3 different elements. One is the language, because sometimes you have this comprehension test in another language, not your native language, but another. So this is a separate topic. The solution for this: improve your language skills for that specific language. But if you have the test, you read the paragraph in your own language, then okay, you don't deal with this one. But even that, there are two different categories, because one is that it's a very simple normal text. So there is no any special jargons. It's just normal that everybody can understand. And the other type is when it's a specialized test, that there are, let's say, in accounting or anything, that you have to be able to know the specific terms, the concepts, and the theories. Now that is much more difficult. So in that case, you have to also prepare for really understand that domain very deeply. So it takes really long time, because you read the word, but it's very difficult. Let's say system. You read something about system. What is system? What is emergent? You have heard these words, abstract thinking, but it doesn't really mean anything to you. Okay, so if this is the case, that you have a very specific text about one specific domain that you have to master, then you really have to understand those concepts and words. But let's say it's just simply easy to understand text, everybody can understand, and then they have some questions. Now, so this is how to prepare. You can prepare, that you sit down and just prepare for this. For example, take sample tests, and then you practice with this one. But even if you don't do this, in any time in your life, that when other people talk to you, when you watch the news, when you watch a movie, when you read an article, when you read a book, you can always do this, especially when you can stop. Let's say you read online something. So you read one paragraph. Okay, first it's better to read the whole thing. You understand the big picture, and then go back to the first paragraph and really read it carefully, and then make a summary. It is better if you have a partner who even better than you, and then the person can give you a feedback. So I'm talking about a case that there is no any feedback, so it's not a preparation test that you can see the answers, but no questions. That you read let's say a news article, and then really spend a lot of time and summarize it for yourself, and then really think that does it have any sense? Does it fit to the previous paragraph, to the next one, to the whole article? Does it have any sense? So summarize it. Maybe you can speak out, maybe you can write down, and then go back, read it very carefully again, and check whether your idea was correct or not. And when you try to remember, you can remember. So look at, there is a structural element, and there are specific data. Let's say if you talk about numbers or something measurable, and sometimes it's difficult to look at this, what is an example and what is the main article. Because I had a very interesting video that somebody mentioned something, one or two words, and all the other thing that he was talking for 3 minutes was just an example, and most people totally misunderstood. So the example was about airplane, but the whole article was about the mind. So the mind is like an airplane, and then he started to say the autopilot and this kind of things. And some people understood that even if just the first 2 or 3 words were about the mind, and all the other 1,000 words were about airplanes, they understood it's about the mind. But some people, they look at the airplane, so they lost the focus. So be aware that distinguish between examples and what is the main point. That's why you always have to look at that. This part, how does it fit this sentence to the next sentence, to the previous sentence, to the whole article, this paragraph to the next paragraph, to the previous paragraph, to the whole article. Look at the structural part, remember the specific information, and you have to go to the big picture and the small details. up and down all the time, how they fit. Because a lot of times people just focus on the details, and that's why the previous example, that they don't understand this is not about airplanes, it's about the mind. But also you have to remember a lot of details. No, and if you do it every day, you can do it when people talk to you, when you read something, you can practice this focus, think about what it was about, and it's better if you can have some feedback that maybe it's a test or maybe other people can also explain, and then you can, during the months and years, you can improve these comprehension skills. My experience that, very generally speaking, people have very bad comprehension skills. They don't pay attention. They totally stuck in the, because what happens that when you read or somebody's talking to you, you pay partially attention to some specific information that you can understand immediately, and people don't make effort to really understand the other parts, and they just ignore this. A very good example for this is about when people go for a job interview and they can read the job description, let's say the 10 different points. And when people come to practice with me job interview, I realize that let's say then 10 points, and they cannot give back correctly even one or two what they say. Even if they read it very quickly, such as 30 seconds, they just say what they already believed about what the job duty for this job. So it's not really related anything that it's written. So they don't spend time to read it. So instead of 30 seconds, what I ask them that at home, memorize the job description, spend 1 or 2 hours, and practice recording on a video telling about this. So speak fluently, word by word, everything about what the job description. Use that word, that specific terms and language, and it has a huge benefit. And then when you memorize, it's not about memorizing just, it's about really you have to understand, oh, what does it mean? Do I have any examples? So I see day by day that people just don't understand each other. They don't pay attention. They assume that they understand what other people say instead of getting explain it in a more different way, or is it what you said, and then they give a feedback. So it's missing. So of course in a test, when you have a reading comprehension exercise, you don't have feedback, but you have to practice this in your real life with reading and with talking to people. Be curious. Check your limiting beliefs or assumptions, that what you see, that really pay attention, does it have sense? And especially when there are some difficult parts, don't skip, go there. So the long-term preparation is this: making effort, trying to get feedback from other people when they really understand everything, but you can get feedback from other people when people misunderstand you. So in a very short term, it's about focus and emotional control.